Your host, Tina Brigley, and today I'm here with a very special guest, and he is the president of the most prominent local unions, and he's representing Stellantis members, and he's also the chair of Unifor's national trades, David Cassidy. David, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's just get started. We're days away from the kickoff of the auto bargaining. How are you feeling about sitting at the table with Stellantis?
Listen, we're excited. Our bargaining committees are ready. We've done our homework. We're prepped. We've went through every single proposal. And the process that happens is our members give us the demands. And then we go through them, we flesh them out, we get doubles, et cetera, whatever. And we meet with all of our leadership. We figure out what we're actually going to be requesting from the company, and then we hash them out. We put them in our subcommittees, and our subcommittees go through the entire bargaining process. So I'm ready to get down and get to a good deal.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the bargaining process for people like me that don't know a lot about what you do in there?
Yeah, so the first thing that happens is we're going to open up this Thursday, with the company. So we'll have a national union there, our sister plants, in Etobicoke and Brampton Assembly, and our parts depots. We will, on the union side, sit across table, do the official handoff, give the company our demands, and then we'll leave. We'll actually just do the ceremonial handoff. And we'll leave, and the company will start doing their costing, and then we'll come back together. Get into our subcommittees, and start, sitting down with the bargaining process. But in that, what happens is we have to go through a process and where we have a strike authorization. And what the strike authorization does is it gives us the mandate from our members to say, hey, you have the support of all of the members behind you. So we look for a high strike mandate when we go to the strike authorization to explain to our members that this is what we need. We need to show the company that you're behind us. That doesn't mean we're going to strike. What it means is they're giving us the mandate that if we need to pull our labor, then we can pull our labor.
So tell us a little bit about the setting the pattern. Do you hope that Stellantis is chosen to set the pattern? And what does that mean, setting the pattern?
Yeah, that's a big one for us. I think I've worn T-shirts with "Pick Us," since I was elected into the leadership, and we want to set the pattern. But what happens is, the National Union usually in the past have met with Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors, and had discussions with their top leadership to see, get a feel for them and see if they're, if they want to, if they're ready, if they're willing. To set the pattern, so they get a little bit of a feel there, and I think we're the biggest OEM in Canada. We have the most members at Stellantis. We have a mature bargaining committee, and we're ready to lead the way. I mean, it's important for us to set the pattern. Now, I can tell you, since I've been elected since 2002, we haven't set the pattern. We've either been second or third through the process, and Ford, majority of the time, have said it. I think GM might have said it once.
And so, devil's advocate, if you're not setting the pattern, like history has hopefully not repeated, what would that mean for the membership?
Well, listen, the good part is we have our chair of the Master Bargaining, James Stewart, who is at the table when Ford is, if it's Ford or if it's General Motors, is there seeing the things that come down, because there's some things that we need to make sure that they might not need that we need. And so we need to make sure that's part of the pattern agreement. And let me be clear here. So pattern agreement is when all the finances come in. So there could be some different nuances between company and company, but the ultimate economic package is the same at the end. So whatever that number is, it needs to make sure that it's consistent and it's a level playing field for all three companies. If Ford or General Motors don't have as many potential retirees as say us with Stellantis, then there's a disadvantage for one over the other. So we just need to make sure that the things that we need on top, I mean, they understand, the national understands, but we also have our chair of the master bargaining that's there to make sure those things come in if we aren't setting the pattern.
So what would it be like for the membership if you get to set the pattern?
Well, listen, it would be great. I mean, listen, we're excited. We're excited. We want to set the pattern. I know that just from in the last week or so, the proposals went out from the UAW, and they saw what they're going after. We're set. I mean, we don't bargain the same. We're not going to bargain in the media like the U.S. is right now. But what we are going to do is we're going to make sure that our members are going to be happy with the agreement we're going to bring back to them. So we can set that pattern to say, this is what our members want, this is what we know they want, and if we don't get what they want, then we're not coming back to even bring it to them.
And have you ever brought back an agreement for ratification that you didn't necessarily agree with?
No, that is not my style. That's not any of our bargaining committee style. My job is not to sell the agreement to the membership. My job eventually to bring it back to ratification is to present it to our members, but ultimately they have the decision whether they want it or not. And if I know, and our bargaining committees know what our membership wants, they told us in proposals. So there's no way that I've ever brought something back that our membership doesn't want. We have our bargaining committees that know the facilities inside and out, right? I mean, and it's just, with Detroit 3, I mean, we have 32 units in my local. So I have 32 bargaining units. However, Stellantis is my home. I've been there 30 years, so I know what's, needed, wanted, that happens inside that facility. So, no, I've never brought one home that, hasn't to the liking of our members, and I'm not going to be prepared to now.
Okay, great. And I know you were talking about the union members the union president across the river throwing around the word strike. Is that a possibility that we might see here in Canada?
Well, listen, one thing that I can tell you, the membership will decide that. Ultimately, the membership will decide that. We're going to get a good strike mandate, I hope, from our members. We're going to explain to them what the strike authorization is, like we have every set of bargaining. And one thing, it's easy to take people out on strike, but to get the right resolve, for the members that you represent, that's always the tough part. So is it possible? Yes. If we have that mandate there, it sure would be possible that we can go out on strike. But listen, we're going to go there. We're going to try to get the best deal we can for our members, one that every one of our members, not everybody's always going to be happy. You're always going to have your adversaries on any issue, but I can tell you that that's always a possibility. That if we are going to withdraw our labor, it'll be because the company isn't listening to what we need to get for our membership.
Great. And I know 3 years ago when you went into bargaining, you were really vocal about new products. Can you give us a little bit of the inside scoop about what your strategy is going into bargaining this time?
Well, listen, I've been a little out there in the public on it. I mean, we're not bargaining product. I mean, we bargained product last set of bargaining, and the retooling's going on. It'll be going on during that process. There's the battery electric vehicle that's happening. We have the battery plant, that's being built here, 2,500 new jobs, plus another 500 to 600 engineering jobs. So that's not the top of our list. I mean, it's no secret that pensions, our wage package, whatever that looks like, cost of living, we got to make sure we bring that back. Our members have been very vocal when it comes to profit sharing, so we need to look at what the dynamics are around that. Our grow-in, our junior members that, it takes them 8 years to get up to the top wage. That's a big priority. But I mean, everybody understands those. So those are some of the top hitters as we go into bargaining that we'll be focused on.
And you talked about profit sharing. How do your members feel about that today? Because it wasn't always really important for the CIW, right?
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, it was obviously, that's what brought us ahead of the UAW. And so our members have seen the checks that they've gotten the UAW over the years and the last few years, and that equates to a lot of money based on what cost of living is. But when you look at cost of living goes into your vacation pay, cost of living goes into your base. I mean, the problem is we've been froze on that. So since we've been froze on that, our members have been very loud and vocal to say, hey, we've been froze on that. We need to look at what this is. So, I mean, the company needs to tell us, well, you're not getting them both. I mean, those proposals are there. So that's the obligation of the company to tell us that. And we'll see what happens once we get into bargaining and where that shakes out.
Okay, great. So it looks like you're a busy man bargaining simultaneously, say that word 10 times quickly, as the UAW. And this hasn't happened in a while, has it? How is that going to impact the bargaining this time around?
Well, listen, but what the UAW does, we're keeping a close eye on what they're doing. Obviously, it's in the media almost every single day, what's happening at the UAW talks. They just really got them kicked off in the last little bit. But the reality is, we're going to keep a close eye on it. But that's going to have no real bearing on us. I mean, the reality is we need to be focused on what our members want, continue keeping, the straight line of bringing the right deal to our members. And the UAW is going to do what the UAW needs to do. I mean, that's the way that I see it.
Great. And I want to call out a little elephant in the room.
Okay.
Okay, so I hear that there's rumbles over the ratification vote, whether it's in person or online, and some people are, pro online, against online. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, that's a good, that one's, surfaced quite a bit. I mean, the reality is when we were in COVID and we had to do, in person, we couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So we immediately switched to, that everybody knows, Zoom or Teams or whatever the flavor is, and we've heard some negativity on it. We've heard a lot of positive on it. We've heard a lot of negative on it. So it's a mixed bag, really. But, our focus right now is not whether we're doing it online or not online. Our focus is getting the deal and the right deal that we can bring back to the membership. Because I'm a guy that likes to touchy-feel, and I want to be out there. I want to be in front of our members. I never, and neither does any one of our leadership, avoid a situation when it comes to our members. Our members ask us a lot of tough questions. Our members put us on the spot on a lot of tough questions, which is fine. I don't hide behind any keyboard or anything. You want to talk to me? I have an open door policy. All of our our leadership at our local, our officers has an open door policy. You can come talk to us. But I am not going to engage in, this whole keyboard, as they call it, a keyboard warrior, I guess, and they're having a lot of debate and discussions on social media. I'm not getting into that. You want to pick up a phone, you want to come see me, my door's always open. But really our focus right now is to get to the bargaining table, get the right deal, get the perfect deal that we need for our members moving forward.
Awesome. And is there anything that, we have this opportunity now, is there anything you would like to say to the members going into this bargaining? We're just days away.
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, the reality is, there's a lot of, whether I call them my adversaries or not, but it's not just mine. There's a lot of people out there that have doubts. There's a lot of people out there who have never been through the process. But just trust in your union. I mean, listen, we're going to bring back the deal that you need to see. And if it's not the deal that you like or want, then you're going to have the right by the democratic process to tell us it's not the right deal. The reality is we're putting our heart and soul into this whole bargaining process. It's going to unfold like it always unfolds. And hopefully we bring back the right collective agreement that you need so we can move forward collectively together.
Beautiful. And, David, I really want to acknowledge you and thank you for what you're doing, because it takes some really big shoulders to be able to do what you're doing. And, the membership is thousands of people, but also it's our whole community that's impacted by this. So thank you so much for being that person to carry the weight, being vocal and really showing up for everybody. So thank you for being here. And thank you, everyone, for watching today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.